Hey there everybody, and welcome back to Dark Souls 2. In the last episode we unlocked some of the locked doors with the soldier's key, which can be obtained after defeating the last giant. So we unlocked 3 doors. We got an Estus Flash Shard, and the other locked door contained a Ring of Restoration, which gradually restores your HP. And the last door led to an optional area with a bunch of loot and a bunch of maulers, which are the turtle-like enemies in heavy armor, as well as the third bonfire in the Forest of the Fallen Giants, known as Soldier's Rest. Alright, so at the end of the last video I explained that the optional area that led to the Soldier's Rest bonfire, the third door that can be unlocked with the soldier's key, is actually a great place to farm for souls because of the turtles in heavy armor. There are tons of them there, and they give you 300 souls per kill, even more if you have the covetous silver serpent ring +1, which we obtained from the merchant hag Melantina to my left here. After you spend 10,000 souls in her shop, all you have to do is click on the talk option, and she'll hand over the covetous silver serpent ring +1, which gives you 20% more souls after each defeated enemy. Alright, so the main reason, you may be wondering why I'm suggesting to soul farm so much in this area. Pretty much since we got here, I've been telling you guys at the end of each episode to soul farm all of the enemies until they stop respawning. Well, the main reason I'm telling you guys to do this is to prepare you for the boss fight ahead. Now, those of you who have been exploring the Forest of the Fallen Giants may have ran into the Pursuer, because to the left here, let me quickly show you, there's a ladder, and once you head up this ladder, you'll be thrown into a optional boss fight with a huge knight in heavy armor known as the Pursuer. So if you've been following this walkthrough from the beginning, I advise you guys not to even go up this ladder. The reason why there's no enemies is because I've been soul farming here. I've been soul farming and I completely defeated all the enemies 10 times so that they don't respawn for their souls. Now, the reason why I suggest not to go up this ladder is because when you do, if you wait a couple seconds, you'll see a huge bird, and that bird will drop off a heavy knight known as the Pursuer. So the Pursuer is very challenging, especially at this early stage of the game. He's really tough, so more than likely if you went up there, you probably got demolished or you had to run away. So hopefully you guys didn't go up there yet, because we can fight him later in that location once we are strong enough and we can actually kill him. So you have pretty much one chance. Once you go up that ladder, you have one chance of taking him out, and if you fail on the first chance or you run away, he'll be gone and you can't defeat him there for his souls, which is why I advise you guys not to go up there yet. Alright, so from farming the door opened up by the soldier's key, I farmed all of the monsters in that area, and I also helped out a couple people in defeating the next boss fight, the Pursuer, for some souls. I managed to get 50,000 souls. So you get 40,000 souls from farming the enemies down past that door, and then if you help somebody out twice and help them defeat the next boss, you can get 5,000 souls per pop, which is how I got 50,000 souls. So I decided to wait to level up my character. Now again, I know I've been saying to soul farm a lot in this area, and it's because of the Pursuer. The Pursuer is very hard, and more than likely, if you haven't been soul farming, you're not going to be able to take him out, and you're going to have to wait until later on in the game, which is why I've been heavily emphasizing to soul farm, because this walkthrough is actually going to take us to the area beyond the pursuer now instead of later. So that's why I've been soul farming, and it'll make it a lot easier for you guys. So in case you want to know how to soul farm and which enemies to soul farm, I've killed everything in this forest. Every area that we went to in this forest, I've killed all the enemies 10 times so that they don't respawn. So you shouldn't see a single enemy in this forest except for in the doors, the one door that is locked. So there are a total of 4 doors that you can open with the soldier's key, which again is obtained from defeating the last giant boss fight. And so far we've opened 3 out of those 4 doors. So the last door that needs to be opened leads to the boss fight, the pursuer. Alright, so I've amassed 50,000 souls, so let's quickly travel to Majula so I can level up. I wanted to wait to show you guys how I develop my character. Alright, so back at Majula, let's talk to the Emerald Herald.
Here to see light, however faint it might be.
Alright, so by the way, in the first door that we opened up with the soldier's key, it is located directly above the Cardinal Tower Bonfire. You take the stairs in the room with the Cardinal Tower Bonfire to the top, and there'll be a door that you can unlock. Once you go through that room, there'll be a chest you can loot and a corpse, and then there is another door in that room that you can open that leads you to another chest which contains an Estus Flask Shard. So for the Estus Flask Shard location, check back on the last episode, it's at the very beginning. But yeah, since we have that Estus Flask Shard, let's go ahead and upgrade our Estus Flask again. Alright, so upgrading our Estus Flask again will give us 4 uses, which is going to be very useful. Alright, so now, actually before we level up, we actually got a bunch of soul items. We got Soul of a Nameless Soldier, so let's go ahead and use that. And we got a large Soul of a Proud Knight. So go ahead and use that for an extra 3,000 souls. So we've made it up to 54,000 souls. Now let's go ahead and level up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and see how much we can level up here. We can level up 11 times, which isn't too bad. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put 2 points into my vigor, bringing it up to 17 for health. I'm going to put 2 points into endurance to bring up our stamina. Stamina is very important in this game because you use it for attacking, dodging, blocking, casting spells. The more endurance you have, the easier this game is going to get. So I'm going to put 2 points into endurance, bringing that up to 12. I'm going to put 5 points into strength, bringing it up to 20, so that our damage with our fire longsword will go up. Finally, I'm going to put 2 points into faith, bringing our faith up to 10. Alright, so we spent all of our souls. Now it's time to fast travel back to the Forest of the Fallen Giants and take on the Pursuer. Oh, I think I fast traveled to the wrong bonfire. Oh well. By the way, guys, if you have been saving up souls, I would highly suggest to spend your souls, especially if you just completed the last giant boss fight and you're immediately going into the Pursuer boss fight. I would highly suggest to spend your souls, because if you die when fighting the Pursuer, you will not be able to get your souls back until you defeat him, because the area is blocked off. So if you die while fighting the Pursuer, your souls will be lost until you manage to defeat him. So if you have any souls, whether it be 5,000 souls or 3,000 souls, just enough to level up once, and you're waiting, I would highly suggest to spend those souls, because it is going to be a lot tougher. Alright, so there is a summon sign here that I'm going to summon. So if you guys are playing online, feel free to summon somebody to help you out. It makes the fights a lot easier. But don't worry, because if you're playing offline and you can't summon anybody, you should be able to defeat this guy as long as you've been leveling up like I suggested. Alright, so since we have a summon sign here, we're going to finally head up that ladder that I've been telling you guys to avoid for so long, so that we can fight the Pursuer. Summon this guy. Let's greet him with a good gesture, with a wave. What's going on, buddy? Let's get him pumped up. I don't even know if he's here or not. There he is. Alright. So now that we got a partner to help us, let's go ahead and climb up this ladder. We're going to take out the first Pursuer boss fight. And there he is. You can see the big bird flying off. And he's going to turn around and drop the Pursuer off. So be very careful when fighting this guy, because he's really tough. The best thing I can say about this guy is to evade his attacks, especially if you don't have a shield that blocks damage by 100%. If you do have a 100% reduction shield, then you can block his attacks, but be very careful, because it consumes a lot of stamina. So if you do block his attacks, it will consume quite a bit of stamina. Just take your time, and whenever you see an opening, go ahead and strike. If you want to play it very safe, you can actually continue dodging his attacks. And there he goes. So for defeating him, you get roughly 20,000 souls, the soul of the Pursuer. Alright, so again, if you're playing by yourself and you're not playing online, the best way to defeat that guy is to continue dodging, and as soon as you see an opening, run in and strike one or two times. After he pulls off his 3-hit combo where he kind of flies in the air a little bit and then comes down, he is actually vulnerable for a couple of seconds. So you can get about 3 or 4 strikes in, depending on what type of weapon you're using. But other than that, take the fight really slow. You don't want to overdo it, one strike at a time and then continue dodging will successfully earn you a win. You just got to take it really slow, hitting them once at a time. Alright, so after we defeated that first boss battle, or well, that's kind of like a sub-boss there, you can go ahead and head down the ladder next to the Cardinal Tower Bonfire, and then you're going to want to turn right and head through the shortcut. Here you'll be in the room with the long sword that overlooks the ocean. If you head to the right here, you'll find the last door that we can unlock with the soldier's key. So go ahead and use the soldier's key on this door, and then head up the steps. Take out the 2 undead enemies ahead, and then go ahead and head up higher and descend the 3rd set of steps, and you should see the misty doorway. Now this leads to the 2nd pursuer fight, which is a lot harder than the first. So what you're going to want to do before you enter that misty doorway, turn right, and at the top of the steps you'll find a corpse you can loot. So go ahead and loot that for a soul of a nameless soldier and a life gem. And if there's a summon sign on the ground anywhere, go ahead and summon somebody to help out. If not, you can take them on by yourself. Melee characters need to circle very close to this enemy and wait for him to stop attacking. Once he stops attacking, attack him once or twice and then back off, because if you attack more than twice, he's going to counter and hit you and take your health away and you'll die. So one strike and then move away is the easiest way to defeat this guy. It's a very slow method, but it actually works. And that way you can actually defeat him on the first go. Because if you're too cocky and you try to land more than one hit, chances are he's going to strike back and take a good chunk of your health away. And since we only have 4 Estus flasks, you need to be very careful. Alright, so again, if you're a melee character, stick close to him, wait for him to attack. Make sure to dodge his attacks, because if you're using a shield without 100% damage reduction, he can still damage you, and it drains all your stamina, and he can attack after your stamina has been drained. So your best bet, instead of blocking, you're going to want to dodge to the left, dodge towards his shield side. That way you can get to the side of him. If you try to dodge to the right, which is his weapon side, you can actually get behind him and hit and land a couple more attacks, but it's a lot more riskier, because if that sword hits you, you're going to be hurting for some damage. So I tend to dodge around his shield side. Now there's also ballistias in the area, so if you line up the ballistias to shoot the pursuer, you can do massive damage, which hopefully I can demonstrate in this boss fight. So if you're playing by yourself, this is really hard. Your best bet is to lure him all the way to the other side of the map, and then quickly run after he attacks. Quickly run to the other side of the map behind the ballistia, and then quickly try to fire it and get a shot off. You have to be quick, because the pursuer can destroy the ballistias. Finally, for mages, this fight is going to be a lot easier. You can actually sit back and just and really, especially if you have someone online that can tank the damage, you can just sit back and cast your spells, or get behind the ballistia and fire it off while the player online is distracting him. If you're by yourself and you're a mage, stay as far back as possible, wait for him to attack, and then fire off 2 or 3 spells, and rinse and repeat. Dodging is key if you're a mage, as well as melee, because this guy can really drain your stamina if you're trying to block. Alright, so with no further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. Where is that guy at? Let's go ahead and make sure that he is ready to go. Oh, he got vanquished. So let's go ahead and head back and try and pick up somebody. I got a good amount of souls, so I really don't feel like going in there and losing them all. By the way, you also got a ring, the Ring of Blades, which increases your physical attack from defeating the pursuer. So if you want, you can actually equip that. But our rings are pretty set for now, so we really don't need that. It only gives you plus 10 to your physical attack. So unless you're really trying to buff up your physical attack, I would not suggest equipping it, because the rings we have on now, I have the Chloranthy ring, the blue seal, which actually, if you're going to trade any one of these 4 rings, the blue seal, covetous silver serpent ring +1, Chloranthy ring, or ring of restoration, I would trade the blue seal, because that only slightly increases your max HP. So if you wanted to trade anything, I would go ahead and trade the blue seal. Alright guys, so since the summon guide disappeared, by the way, these red summon signs, in case you guys are wondering what those are to fight another player, another human player in real life. So if you want to fight somebody and one-on-one them, you can actually summon these red summon signs, and that will let them come to your world, and you can fight them one-on-one. This is known as PvPing. However, I would highly recommend waiting until you actually have your character developed before you start the PvP. Otherwise, you might get destroyed. But alright, other than that, guys, we took care of the first pursuer boss fight, which is located up the ladder. Again, it's very easy if you summon somebody if you're playing online. If not, take the fight nice and slow. Melee characters, stick close to him and wait for your chance to attack, and then attack him once. Don't go overboard and attack 2 or 3 times, or else he's going to hit you and you're going to have to heal. Again, the first mini boss fight with the pursuer up this ladder to the right of the Cardinal Tower Bonfire, you only get 1 chance to win the fight. If you don't get him first try, he'll be gone and you have lost your first chance, but you can still fight him through the Misty Doorway. That's a mandatory boss fight. Alright, so since we took care of that, let's head back to Majula and level up our character before we move on and fight the real boss fight with the pursuer. Because if I can't summon anybody and I end up dying while fighting the pursuer, at least I'll have my soul spent so they're not wasted. So let's go ahead and level up some more. We got 21,000 souls off that fight, which is really good. Or 20,000 souls, I mean. Well, if you want the exact number of souls we got, I think it's 19,500, because I had 500 souls. Alright, so what should I level up here? Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put my vigor. I think I should get my vigor up to 20. That'll be all my points right there. I'm going to go ahead and increase my adaptability, which increases your various bonuses, such as poison bonuses and poison resistances, bleed resistance, petrify resistance, curse resistance. It also slightly increases your pose, but more importantly, what adaptability mainly does is it's the main stat for increasing your agility. So agility, agility allows you to drink your Estus flask faster. It allows you to roll faster. It doesn't allow you to roll farther or anything like that, or faster really. It just slowly, not really increases the roll animation speed, but it does help it a little bit. It's not confirmed to do that, but I know for a fact that increasing your adaptability will increase how fast you drink your Estus Flask, which is very important, especially in some of those boss fights where you have to heal, but every time you go to drink your Estus Flask, you end up getting hit and dying by the boss. Put some of those points into adaptability, and you'll be able to drink your Estus Flask quicker, which is very useful. So I'm going to go ahead and increase that to 9, so we have at least a little bit more agility. But don't go overboard with adaptability, because it is kind of useless. The only thing that it's good for is increasing your agility, mainly, and your agility caps out at 110. I mean, you'll see the number go above 110, but it won't have any other effect. 110 is the capped out agility. So once you see your agility hitting 110, don't even put any more points into adaptability. The farthest I would take adaptability is 25. 30 is too much. 25 is perfect, because increasing your attunement will in fact increase not only your casting speed and the number of slots that you can equip magic, but it also gives you a slight boost in agility. So once you increase your attunement to about 50 or so, your agility will be at about 105, and then you can put the rest in adaptability. So I'm only going to get my adaptability up to like 10 or 15, and then I'm not going to worry about it anymore. But I just wanted to put a little bit of points into adaptability, because that was my lowest stat. It was still at 6. So I just went ahead and put 3 into adaptability. But alright, let's go ahead and head back to the Forest of the Fallen Giants. And I think that's all the time we're going to have in this episode, because, yeah, we're at 27 minutes. So I try to keep the videos in between 20 and 30 minutes. So this is a perfect cutoff point. I really wanted to get the other boss fight with the Pursuer done, but I had to explain the strategy, because this is a strategy guide for you guys. So if I just rushed in there and killed the Pursuer without explaining the basic tactics, it wouldn't really be a good strategy guide, would it? But yeah, alright, so that's going to complete this episode of Dark Souls 2. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.